Moving to London is exciting, but the everyday systems can be surprisingly tricky to understand. You got the job, you got the flat, now what? How do you actually set yourself up in a new country where so many everyday things work differently? This was exactly my situation when I first arrived. I spent a month in bed because I didn't know how to book a doctor appointment. I didn't know what a credit score even was. I organized an entire move with a £20 Uber ride. I had to relearn everything. I'm going to share the tools, services, and system I wish someone had explained to me before I started building a life here. One of these is easy to overlook, but it can affect your renting options, phone contract, and access to credits for years. And by the way, none of the brands paid to be included. The first thing I wish I'd understood was how to move my money into the UK without losing more than necessary. As an international student, I was asked to pay 6 months rent upfront to move into my flat. I was lucky enough to have saved this money from a previous student job. The issue was, it was stuck in euros in my French bank account. I didn't know any better, so I transferred it through my bank and paid a hefty amount in fees and a poor exchange rate. Looking back, I probably lost several £100 unnecessarily. This is exactly the kind of thing to sort before you arrive, not when you found a flat and you suddenly need to move money fast. That's when you need Wise, which is designed for international transfers. It shows the fee upfront and it uses the mid-market exchange rate, so there is no surprises. It's a tool I now use myself and I recommend my clients set up before arriving. It's useful for transferring savings or paying for temporary accommodation. Just remember that Wise is not a UK bank account, and some landlords and referencing agencies will not accept it as such. So Wise is useful for getting your money here. The next question is how to manage it once you've arrived. Opening a traditional bank account is not always straightforward when you're new to the country. You may still be sorting out your proof of address and everything else that comes with moving. I personally use Revolut exclusively for my first couple of years in the UK, and I still use it today for traveling abroad. I used it for my salary, rent, and day-to-day expenses. The standard account is free to open, and I found the app very easy to use. And I also like how clearly it shows the rates and fees before you commit to exchanging money. Monzo is another option worth looking at, and I love how you can create different money pots. And both are now fully licensed UK banks with deposit protected up to £120,000. One thing to remember is that having a UK bank account is not the same thing as building a UK credit history. So for me, Wise is for moving money into the UK and Revolut is for everything after that. Getting a UK bank account quickly makes your life easier, but it won't automatically give you a UK credit history. When I arrived in the UK, I didn't even know what a credit score was, let alone how to improve it. I later learned that what matters here is your UK credit history specifically. Your history from another country doesn't transfer. So even if you had always paid everything on time back home, you could still arrive with an empty file. That can make things like credit cards, loans, phone contracts, and renting more complicated. One option I found was using a credit card responsibly and paying it in full every month. But that wasn't straightforward for me. The banks I approached wanted 3 years of UK address history before giving me a credit card. I just assumed it was a universal rule when it wasn't. It was just the answer I kept getting from the banks I tried, so I stopped looking and I waited 3 years. Looking back, that was a missed opportunity to start building my UK credit history earlier. The first thing I would do now is to look into rent reporting. One option I came across is Credit Ladder, which can report rent payments to credit reference agencies through open banking. I haven't used it myself, but it's something worth researching if you're actually paying your rent every month. Just remember that late or missed payments can also be reported, and there is no guarantee that it will actually improve your credit score. The other option is a credit builder card. The limits are low and the interest rates can be high, but if you pay in full every month by direct debit, the interest rate is irrelevant. So check your files, look into rent reporting, and only use a credit builder card if you can repay it in full every month. Credit building takes time, it's not something you fix in a few weeks. And this is one of those things I wish someone had explained to me when I first arrived. If you want a much more detailed explanation of UK credit score, along with the other practical admin you need to set up your life here, that's what I cover in my relocation guide. I've put it together from my own experience as an expat, as well as all the questions I've answered for my clients. I kept it practical and easy to follow. I'll put the link below if you want to take a look. So, a good UK credit history can help you get accepted for a flat. The next tool is about protecting what happens after you get the keys. Your landlord's insurance usually protects the building, not everything you've brought into it. So if your laptop is stolen or your things are damaged in a leak or fire, this probably won't be covered. You would normally need content insurance for your own things. This covers everything you'll take with you when you move. Laptop, phone, furniture, jewelry, bicycles. And there is also something called tenant liability insurance. This covers accidental damage you cause to your landlord's property. For example, spilling wine on a carpet or accidentally damaging a sofa. Tenant liability is usually included with content insurance, but you should always check your quote. This could help if your landlord makes a justified claim against your deposit or more than this amount. I personally use AXA, but I haven't had to make a claim, so I can only speak to the sign-up experience. I'll put a few links below if you want to shop around. Once you know your belongings are covered, the next practical problem is moving them around London. Moving in London is not always as simple as hiring a van. You might be dealing with a narrow staircase, no lift access, limited parking outside, or a congestion charge that adds to the final cost. I have personally used any van for my last move, and I was happy with the experience. The process is very straightforward. First of all, you can do everything online without having to speak to someone on the phone, which makes it less intimidating. You enter your pick-up and drop-off addresses, the size of the property, the floor you are on, and whether there is a lift access. Then you list the furniture and number of boxes you need to move, and you get a price for your chosen date. So if you have some flexibility, it could be an easy way to save on the move. I also love that you can cancel the service up to 48 hours before the agreed date. So it's a great option to have a secured solution while still having flexibility until pretty much last minute. For moving between two flats in London, that's where I would start. Healthcare is another system you'll want to understand early. I cover the whole process in my relocation guide linked in the description, but here I want to focus on the one tool that can make accessing healthcare much easier, the NHS App. I learned this the hard way when I hurt my back a few months after moving to London. It took more than a month to improve on its own, and I wish I had gotten help instead. Don't do what I did. Register with a GP surgery near where you live before you need one. It's completely free. Then download the NHS app. It's a lifesaver. Depending on your GP, you can book or cancel appointments without having to call anyone. You can also request repeat prescriptions in 2 clicks as well as seeing your test results. Some GPs will even allow you to access your whole medical record as well as your appointment notes. I actually find the UK system surprisingly easy to navigate once you know where to look. I just wish I hadn't waited that long. Now, when everything hurts, your favorite show is a reasonable consolation prize. I remember being stuck in bed, literally unable to move because of my back, and the only thing I wanted was to watch my favorite French reality TV show, Koh-Lanta. It's the French version of Survivors. I am obsessed. Except I couldn't, because the website blocked my UK IP address. I ended up reading recaps of the show instead, but it wasn't the same. A couple of years later, I started using a VPN for a completely different reason, and that's when I realized. You can usually choose which country your connection appears to come from. So that's when it clicked. I could have used that to watch my show. I wish I had realized that sooner. And beyond streaming, a VPN also protects you online, so that's always useful. I'm currently selecting one for myself, and so far my research is showing NordVPN as a good option. I'll put a link below like everything else mentioned in this video. And speaking of systems that are not as straightforward as they should be, train tickets are another good example. When I tried to book my first ticket for a day trip outside London, it took me 3 business days. I found the whole thing completely overwhelming. Different operators, different apps, different prices. Sometimes you can even book a specific time but still travel on another train altogether. I was not used to that many variables, at all. That's when I came across Choo Choo. Here's an example of what booking the same train journey looks like in 2 different apps. Here, another app found a cheap ticket but charged a booking fee. Choo Choo found the same fare but doesn't charge a booking fee. By the way, if you ever heard of split tickets, I finally figured out what it means. I can make another video dedicated to trains if you're interested, because it definitely needs its own spotlight. It only took me 6 years to figure it out after all. So finding cheaper train tickets can make it easier to go and explore, but getting around the city is not the same as feeling part of it. Building a social life from scratch is one of the hardest parts of moving abroad, and nobody really talks about it. When I first arrived in London, I tried Bumble BFF, which is a feature to match you on a friendship level, not a romantic one. Well, I got no replies for 2 weeks, so I gave up. I also went to after-works event, but I found it hard to connect with people in that kind of setting. Honestly, the reason why I have a social life in the UK is because my partner is British. I basically rented his friends and family. which is lovely, but not exactly a transferable strategy. I've done plenty of research though, and I want to share everything I found. The most established option is time left. Every Wednesday evening, you get matched with 5 strangers for a dinner at a mystery restaurant. And you find out where you're going on the day. You take a personality quiz beforehand, so the matching is then random, and there is an icebreaker at the table as well. That sounds fun honestly, although it would definitely put me out of my comfort zone. Next is PLY, which is similar in spirit but offers more options. You can go bowling or play darts, for example, it's not just dinner. Next, if you're looking at something more professionally oriented, the Afterwork Club organizes networking events and workshops. Chapter 25 is a book club with monthly in-person events and a WhatsApp group to keep in touch in between. If you're looking for something completely free with zero commitment, you could look at Parkrun. There are free runs or walks every Saturday morning, and it's common to see the same faces week after week. I also found 2 newer options that look promising. There is Group Vibe, which matches you with 4 to 6 people for coffee or brunch, but they don't actually organize the meetup. And finally, Pixi, Pyxi, I'm not really sure how it's pronounced. It also matches you for small group experiences, but the users themselves can set up their own event. I haven't tried any of these yet, but I plan to. If you have, or if you found something that actually works, let me know in the comments. And in the meantime, you can watch this video next.